Hello, happy Saturday. So this is going to probably be a little bit shorter of a video than usual because I'm going to try to. I'm going to drop some extra videos in that aren't just me sitting here talking or awkwardly showing you where vegetables are. David has been just the ultimate farm champ this week, and I was out of town for some family stuff. Flew back in today. So that meant that he was he did do CSA stuff just solo, which, it is a lot of extra work. So super appreciative to him for giving me the time and space to be with my family, and for still handling the stuff around the farm. So in the old tunnel, which is right over here, he harvested a couple of things this week. The first thing will be rutabaga. I will drop a little video of the rutabaga in right now. So rutabaga is a root vegetable. If you've never had it before, it has a taste that I would describe somewhere between like the cabbagey taste of like cabbage and maybe a turnipy taste. I think it's actually a pretty sweet vegetable. I've not eaten a ton of rutabaga in my life until the last year and a half or so. Rutabaga can be a substitute for things like potatoes, so you can do things like smashed or mashed. They will have like the texture kind of a potato once cooked. So I'll talk about that a little bit down the line, but you should have close to 2.5-3 pounds of rutabaga in your share this week. The other thing that will be coming in is a really beautiful head of cauliflower. So I'm going to throw a video of that in right here. And our cauliflower has done, honestly, amazingly well. I've been gone for only 3 days, so really it doesn't seem like very much should happen in 3 days, but coming back, it's just like, holy smokes, there's a lot of stuff like that is just bustling and booming, and cauliflower is one of them. And these are things that are like legitimately as big as my head, which is incredible. So hopefully between the rutabaga and the cauliflower, you enjoy those new things that are coming in your share. Additionally, you're going to have a head of romaine lettuce. And so you've had romaine before, not anything necessarily new, we'll say, but hopefully a little staple lettuce that you're enjoying, as well as a bag of arugula. The other things that we're putting into the share this week are cabbage. So you'll have a lovely head of cabbage, which I will drop a video of that in following this as well. And so that is rutabaga, lettuce, arugula, cabbage, cauliflower. Was there something else? Oh, bok choy. Jeez, oh Pete, I'm losing it. You had a purple bok choy before. I'm really sorry that you're seeing a video of me sitting here thinking for like 5 solid seconds. That's where my brain is at right this very moment. I've been planning this, and David and I have been communicating back and forth all week long while I was out of town, and I had made sure I had a plan before I left town so that he had a plan before I left town, and we've been walking through it. But boy, now that I'm revisiting it, clearly it's just not fully in my brain. You had bok choy previously. It was a little bit of a thinner, smaller bok choy in that it was like very long legs and more leafy. So you'll get a green bok choy in your share this week, which is a little bit beefier of a bok choy. I'd say it's a different variety than the one you received previously. And hopefully something fun is a bottle of honey. We have bees. You can't see them from here, but they actually are back in this area. We've got hives back there. And so this year we harvested about 8 gallons of honey off of them, which is more than what we harvested last year. So we're doing a little bit better. But I hope you enjoy just fresh local honey. It is filtered, and that just means that it gets run through a screen so that hopefully any chunks of things don't make it into your bottle, but it's not processed in any other way. So it's like raw honey. Enjoy. So I will drop a couple of other videos in here of some delicious and beautiful looking vegetables, and then I'll just pop in just a minute. My phone's about to die. I'll pop in a few minutes with maybe some recipe ideas for some of those things, and I hope you enjoy. If you're receiving eggs with your share this week, you're receiving eggs with your share this week. If you are in on the meat share, you'll be getting some breakfast sausage links. So this is maybe a little bit more of a low-key meat option this time. We've had some bigger, heavier stuff with chops and some of the sausages and stuff in the past, but this time we'll have breakfast links. I hope you enjoy them. They're a staple in our house for breakfast, obviously. Okay, so after a short regroup and a charge of the phone and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to charge me back up, I just wanted to kind of wrap things up here. Reminder, if you're watching this before Sunday, hopefully, please put your cooler out. It should be pretty cool tomorrow, so ice packs may not be necessary, but I'll have everything in your cooler, and I will be by between 2 and 5 p.m. And I'll text after I've dropped by, unless I see you. So a couple of like recipe or just ideas of what to do with some of the things. Cabbage. So a way that I often cook cabbage in our house, because other than coleslaw, I wasn't really used to having cabbage. We weren't regular cabbage eaters until we started growing cabbage. And so something that I like to do is chop up like bacon and start to cook that, saute it, and then throw the cabbage in with salt and pepper. You could do garlic, stuff like that, onions if you wanted to. That means that you're going to take your cabbage, cut it in half, cut the core out of it, rough chop it, you know, into kind of bigger pieces. The trick here, in my opinion, is not letting it get too wilty, because it will wilt down. It will lose a lot of its texture. If you cook the bacon a little bit in advance and get the bacon mostly cooked, and then throw the cabbage in on top of it, then you'll have your cabbage cooking in your bacon grease, giving it some flavor and giving it natural grease to cook in. So that's a really fun and delicious opinion in my way, or delicious idea in my opinion, of how to use up a head of cabbage pretty quickly. Something else, when I was looking online for stuff that I think sounds really delish that I would like to try myself, is taking your cabbage and cutting it into wedges. So if it's smaller, you can cut it into fourths, so like quarter it. If it's larger than that, probably 1/6 is about as small as I would probably go with this. Brush it with olive oil, salt, garlic, pepper, throw it in the roaster, or in the oven to roast, and then cook like that for a little while. And when it's sort of done, then pull it out, throw some Parmesan cheese on it, put it back in there, and then let the Parmesan cheese kind of crisp up on top of the cabbage. And then you cut it into pieces from there. So that would be an easy way to not really have to babysit it, I guess. So that's something to do with the cabbage. Also, in a former life, I remember grilling, like pre-farm is what I mean by that. Pre-farm, I remember grilling cabbage steaks. So like cutting it into rounds, brushing it with olive oil, and putting it on the grill. Seasoning it to your preference on there too. So there's a few different ways you can cook it. Gives it a few different options for texture, and also cooking methods depending on what you're looking for. In terms of the cauliflower, there's a ton of stuff you can do with that. We eat a lot of steamed cauliflower. I don't steam my vegetables for too terribly long, just enough to give them a little bit of softer bite, but I don't like mush as my vegetables. So steaming is an easy way to use it. You can cut it into pieces. I've seen things like cauliflower rice, My mom has some recipe that she just drools over all the time where it's a whole head of cauliflower that you roast in the oven and you put tahini on it. So if that's something you're looking for, I'd be happy to get that from her. She just honestly raves about it every time she makes it. But we eat a ton of cauliflower, even, when it means we have to go buy some. But hopefully you really enjoy this head. The rutabagas. Okay, so rutabagas are likely the weirdest vegetable this week. If you really think of them like a potato substitute, they're very easy to use in that regard. So whether it's that you are like pan frying them, so a lot of times for breakfast, when we're cooking breakfast kind of items or sausages, like brats basically, but inside, I will take potatoes and cut them, in half, big ways, and then slice them into half moons-ish after I've peeled them. That's a good key for me to say right now, is the rutabaga will need to be peeled. You can use a vegetable peeler on it and it will be just fine. You can use a knife if you're adept with that and just kind of slice it down and take the peel off. It comes off pretty easy. It's not waxed. You don't have to worry about anything like that. But it is a tougher outer peel because it's a root vegetable. So once you have it peeled, if you cut it into slices, I pan fry potatoes like that sometimes. I put a big old glob of butter in the pan and have it, like medium to medium high heat, and then throw the slices in there, season them up, let them cook for a while, get kind of crispy on each side, let them cook throughout, and then we have fried potatoes with things like eggs or brats, sausages, stuff like that. So that's a way to easily use it like a potato substitute. You're going to find that it has a different flavor than potatoes, so don't expect a potato. I'm just suggesting like cooking it like a potato. Mashed rutabaga is another option. So essentially you treat it the same way as you would mashed potatoes. Peel it, cut it into cubes, boil it, stick it in the, like strain the water out and then mash it up. I usually throw butter, milk, salt, pepper in mine. I've seen some stuff on there about throwing some sour cream in there, like almost like a loaded mashed potato, but a loaded rutabaga. If you'd like to do something with the honey, that's more than just eating it, as like tea or topping your Cheerios or whatever with it. If you want to roast your rutabaga, cut it however you'd like to cut it, cubes, slices, I don't know, whatever you want to do it as size-wise. Roast it in the oven and then drizzle some honey over it. Something like a thyme would be good with that as far as a seasoning, just so it's like a honey herb rutabaga. It's going to have a sweeter flavor, I think, in my opinion, than probably what you're anticipating. This could be a love-hate vegetable for you. I don't know. But I think that this is like a good option. It's a neat one to me. And so I hope that you try one or maybe a couple different things depending on how you end up cooking it, and I hope that maybe you enjoy one of them. The lettuce, the arugula, those are pretty common. We've already talked about those for the last 4 weeks, so I'm not going to talk about those again. The bok choy this week, because it's a bit sturdier of a head of bok choy, something that you could do if you've done a stir fry and you're over stir fry. If you've done a soup that you've used it in and you're over that, then something completely different is to essentially, if any of the leaves on the big stalky kind of leaves are no bueno, take those off, but then slice it in half. I'm looking at David as he's looking at me. Slice it in half, brush it with olive oil, put it in the oven, and again, roast it like that. You're going to want to watch the length of time on this. So this is going to be probably, 20-ish minutes, give or take. Keep an eye on it because, again, this is one of those vegetables that has the potential to get mushy and perhaps lose its luster if it's too mushy. But like a roasted bok choy could be a great little side to a dish that you're preparing as well. I think that's pretty much all of the kind of ideas I wanted to cover. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any recipes that you've tried that you really love, or a way that you really enjoy using something, then please feel free to let me know, and I'm always happy to pass those things along. It's pretty incredible. This is week 4 out of 5, so we've got one more week after this, which is nuts, and I hope you're enjoying. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. thank you for being part of the CSA. I would re-record that if I wasn't 8 minutes into this, because when I really mess up on things, I want to be like, oh, scratch that. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to let that live as it lives. And I hope you have a good evening. See you tomorrow when we drop off.